Hi, my name is Dr. Megan Owens, and today I'm going to give you some instructions to do an equanimity mindfulness practice. There are so many different types of meditations, ones that help us to cultivate awareness, to help us disentangle from our thoughts, to help us tune in to what's going on inside of us or around us. So meditation practice is like a big buffet with so many different ones to pick from. And the one that I'm going to guide you through today, an equanimity practice, is really about cultivating a particular emotional state. Equanimity is something everyone has experienced at some point, whether they realized it or not. And it's a sense of calmness, of even-mindedness, where your mind feels quite balanced and not caught up or disentangled. Despite things going on around you, which might typically cause a person to be tangled up with or caught up with. So feeling even keeled, even though there might be chaos around you or interpersonal conflict or crises going on. It's a sense of that kind of distance. And as though your mind is placid and it's not affected by all the wind around it. So let's go ahead and get started. You can begin by closing your eyes if that feels comfortable and available to you. Or you can soften your gaze if that's more comfortable. You can, of course, practice in any position that feels right to you, whether that be sitting in an upright position like I am or lying down. Whatever allows you to maintain a sense of relaxation, but also alertness and awareness. So let's start by just taking a few deeper than normal breaths. Really tuning in to your breath, noticing where you feel it the most. That might be in your chest or in your belly, around your nostrils. And then let's turn our attention to our bodies, taking a slow, gentle scan from the tips of your toes up through your legs and hips, belly and back. And we're just noticing what's there, not judging it as good or bad. Just noticing how our body is feeling, what sensations might be present. Scanning from the tips of our fingers up through our arms, to our chest and shoulders, neck, head, and all the different parts of our face. Now let's notice where your mind is today. Not the content of the mind, but just sort of the state. Does your mind feel sleepy or awake? Busy or calm? Agitated or open? And now let's check in with your heart center or your emotional center. And what sort of emotions are present? You might ask yourself, how am I feeling today? And see if any feelings bubble up. If they don't, maybe just notice whether you're feeling low energy or high energy, or somewhere in between. And then notice whether that energy, low, high, or in between, has a more negative valence to it or a more positive one. Now we've taken just a few minutes to check in, to turn our attention inward and check in with ourselves. So now let's turn our attention to a practice to cultivate the state of equanimity. I'd like you to remember a time when you felt even-minded, balanced, might have even surprised yourself, your level of sort of mental clarity and calmness in a situation that was perhaps chaotic or not particularly calm. It could be anything, a personal conflict or a chaotic moment in your day where there was a little bit of a distance in between you and what was going on. You were engaged, but you weren't caught up. So you had this sense of spaciousness, the ability to see the situation for what it was. So see if you can recall a time when you felt balanced like that. And once you've got that situation in mind, let's fully sense it. Can you take note of what you see going on around you? What sort of sounds you might have heard? And perhaps most importantly, what did you feel inside yourself? In other words, what does this sensation of equanimity feel like to you? Can you notice it anywhere in your body or your mind? And here's some phrases or thoughts we might repeat to ourselves to really help bring that equanimity in. Things are as they are. May I accept things just as they are. I am as I am. May I accept myself just as I am. You are as you are. May I accept you just as you are. Now you can go ahead and let that situation slowly fade from your mind. And let's move into something right now that's a bit more sticky for you. Not the toughest situation, but one that you just notice you're a little more caught up in. It's more challenging for you to see the situation fully without being in it. When you've got something in mind, again, allow yourself to sense into that situation. Who would be there? And what might you hear? What might you see? If it's past or future that you're predicting. But But maybe take one small step back from the situation, almost as though you're watching a movie of it, not quite in it. And let's try some of those same phrases to cultivate a sense of equanimity towards this particular sticky situation. Things are as they are. May I accept things just as they are. I am as I am. May I accept myself just as I am. You are as you are. May I accept you just as you are. It's okay if you don't fully believe those or feel those phrases as you're saying them. We're just looking for a little bit of spaciousness, a little bit of distance, of not being so caught in the situation. That might make it easier to respond rather than react. Now let's let that kind of sticky situation fade from our mind. And let's go back to that time that you had a lot of equanimity, you had a lot of mental clarity and calmness despite a challenging situation. Let's feel back into that situation. Allow it to come fully into mind again. Remembering how we felt in our bodies, in our minds, in our hearts. And let's try those phrases again to this situation. Things are as they are. May I accept things just as they are. I am as I am. May I accept myself just as I am. You are as you are. May I accept you just as you are. Just noticing in our bodies how that feels to repeat those phrases while imagining a situation where we had some equanimity. Now you can let that situation fade and come back into your body in the present moment. Just noticing your body breathing. Noticing the sensations in your body, perhaps where it makes contact with the floor or the chair or whatever surface you're on. And again, taking note of the state of your mind, how it may or may not be different than it was at the start of our practice together. And let's take a few last deeper than normal breaths together. And then when you feel ready, open your eyes, maybe wiggle your fingers and your toes. And thank you for joining me in this practice.